so much. Okay? With that, I'm going to move to the blessing for just a few minutes, and that's the entire it will be for you. We begin the ceremony, this festival with a lot of noise and loud DJs to spin away to bring peace to St. Peter. The last presentation we have is a spiritual one, so it's required that everybody quiet. This tea ceremony, which is going to be explained by Nancy Anderson, she would explain why that we need to be quiet, because this is a very special presentation, and I am so honored and thankful for my friend Chicago, and she would present the traditional
Turn the
Japanese tea
sternos off.
ceremony.
The rice is
All
too
these
hot. It's
things
drying
we did.
out.
This is the
Do you have
all the many blessings that exist in our lives. May we attain all of our goals. May we keep walking even in the face of storms, stopping gathering courage to walk again. May the sunshine always shine bright upon us. May rain drench us with love and wisdom. May we be successful in all that we endeavor this year, safely, with prosperity, secure from all evils. And may the blessings of this year be with you as we celebrate this new year. Amen.
Amen.
That was a traditional Chinese blessing.
Before we begin, I'd like to point out just a couple things to you. As you bring, Chicago, as you bring in the various elements, or maybe you could just hold them up so that I can show you. First of all, the most important element of the tea ceremony is the matcha, or the powdered green tea. She'll do the cleansing in just a moment, but there is a wooden spoon that's used for the tea, called a chasha. And then the bowl, which I don't know if you can hold up the bowl, the chawan, the tea bowl or the teacup. The wooden label is a hishaka. Chicago is really an expert in this. I am a teacher at Ikebana. I did not study the tea ceremony. And then the cup is called a chawan. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So at the beginning, I'm going to tell you just a little bit of a little history here. The guests are given a treat, and the treat is always offered as a way, something to make them feel comfortable, and to have that to sort of prepare themselves for the tea, rather than coming in and perhaps you're hungry. And so this is to make the guests feel comfortable, but it's an important part of the tea ceremony. Often the sweet is eaten while the host is cleaning all of the instruments. And all this is very important. So while she's gathering that together, let me tell you just a little bit about the history or the tradition of Chanoyu. Chanoyu is it means the way of the tea. The culture of Chanoyu is quite unique. For a while after the custom of drinking tea had been transmitted to Japan from China, most of the culture came in about the 900s from China, and then disseminated to Japan, on to Korea, and then there was a lot of mixing in Southern Asia, in Vietnam, and anyway, you'll see a lot of this in a lot of the art forms, and then they fed one another. So the people just enjoyed the taste of the tea then. But in due time, the utensils for drinking tea, the way of preparing the tea, and a place for drinking it were specially created, and this was a prototype for today's Chanoyu. As for the thinking behind Chanoyu, the medieval aesthetic of wabi, or taste of the simple and quiet, produced wabi-style tea. Chanoyu is said to be a traditional culture, but at the time that it appeared, it was something completely new that could even be called revolutionary. For example, chashitsu, or the tea room, a type of architecture which had not previously existed in Japan, was created, as well as the chawan, or tea bowl, the kama, the kettle, the hana-ire, the flower container. And you see all of these elements on the table. These were especially made for Chanoyu, not for any other common purpose. This makes one wonder at the original chaijin, or tea devotees, in the earlier years. They believed in simplicity, and yet this ceremony, in its elegance and simplicity, is incredibly complex, and you'll find that in the way of the kimono and dressing kimono. You will find it in ikebana and all the different schools of ikebana that do things precisely differently. But the skill in ikebana, as in the tea ceremony, as in all the kimono, your skills help you to tweak things, and that's where the elegance and the real joy of these skills begin. Okay, at this point, Chikako, you want me to go ahead and read the first parts? The steps in the tea ceremony. The Japanese tea ceremony may seem a bit complex to understand with so many existing types, tools, and special vocabulary. But in fact, the tea ceremony involves the practical and aesthetical matcha preparation, matcha, the powdered tea, and the attempt to connect with the guest. It's very important. Any host knows that. And sometimes it also helps you to connect with a higher spiritual level, and we're going to talk more about that. The first step, the host prepares for the ceremony. Preparation for the tea ceremony sometimes starts weeks earlier, before the actual day in which the ceremony takes place. The host needs to send formal invitations to their guests and to prepare their soul for the ceremony by leaving behind all worldly thoughts and just focusing on obtaining a certain harmony and equilibrium with himself or herself. Does that sound like prayer and meditation? Do we do that before a service? The practical preparation starts with choosing the right tools, depending on the season and the part of the day the ceremony will take place. The host goes on by cleaning the tea room or the garden if it's in summertime, and the tools, and changing the tatami, or the Japanese mats that are traditionally on the floor. If the ceremony will involve a meal, then the host needs to start preparing very early in the morning. The guests prepare for the ceremony as well. Guests also need to prepare spiritually for the ceremony before actually participating. They need to purify their hearts and thoughts and leave the worldly worries behind. Before entering the tea room or garden where the ceremony will take place, the guests have to wait for a signal from the host, which will announce them to the host as ready to receive them. They also need to wash their hands in an attempt to symbolically get rid of the dust from the outside world. After the host gives them the signal, they will enter the tea room through a small door, which obliges them to bow as a sign of respect to the host and to the preparations she has made. At this point, Chikako has been cleaning her tools. The actual preparation of matcha doesn't start until the host brings in the tools, cleans them in front of the guests before using them. The cleaning of the tools is aesthetically done with concentration and highly graceful movements. Very, very important. These movements can differ from one type of ceremony to another, but what is always important in all Japanese tea ceremonies is the graceful posture of the host, and aesthetic value of the way things are done during the ceremony. No unnecessary movements or words are allowed during the ceremony, and all things start with the tools and end with the guest's behavior, ending with the guest's behavior have to be in harmony with each other. And as she cleans the tools, the guests are to admire, not just the tea itself, but the whole process of what she's doing and the quality of the implements, all of this. The guests, there's some choreography to that. After the tools are perfectly clean and aesthetically displayed, the preparation of matcha begins. Usually the host adds into the tea bowl 3 scoops of matcha per guest. After adding the powder, hot water is also added to the bowl and the composition turns to a thick paste, and then more water is added afterwards. Now, you saw Chicago whisk it. Can you hold up the whisk and show them? This is a beautiful instrument, and you must come and see it. It is carved out of one piece of bamboo. It's absolutely magnificent. And you must have this to do the whisking. I mean, it would be good for cappuccino as well. All right, so now at this point, she is serving the matcha. The host presents the prepared tea bowl to the main guest, and they exchange bowls. For the first guest admires the bowl, then rotates it before she drinks. She holds the bowl. Can you show them how you hold the bowl? Can you show them how one holds the bowl? The left hand holds it underneath. The right hand then will rotate the bowl. She wipes it and then rotates the bowl clockwise 3 times for a complete circle. Then she hands it to the guest, who admires the beauty of these bowls, and these were a wedding present and they're a work of art. And thank you for reminding me. Then they bow when she gives them the tea. They admire the bowl. They drink the tea. They turn the bowl. They hold it the same way, but turn it clockwise. And after they have wiped the edge, and the face goes to the guest. And so she receives it clockwise and bows. So it's all very ritualized. But as you can see, as a Eucharistic minister, there's a lot of similarity here. All right, now she's going to do the cleaning part. After all the guests have taken a drink of tea, the host cleans the bowl. The host will also rinse and clean the tea whisk and the scoop again. The guests need to inspect the tools used in the ceremony after they have been cleaned as a sign of respect and admiration for the host. They carefully and respectfully examine the utensils using a cloth when handling them with extreme caution. After this phase is over, the host gathers the tools and the guests exit with another bow to complete the ceremony. This is the chalice cleaning part. And let me add a little side segue to this. Chicago has generously offered, after the meal or if 1 or 2 or 3 come up, she would perform tea for you and make a cup for you. So remember how you need to receive it. Okay. Can I share a bit about the Eucharist? Okay. I wanted to share with you a wonderful story that really shows how similar in a culture that where Confucianism, Buddhism, Zennism, I'm missing a couple, Taoism, and another one, Shintoism. All of these religions or philosophies are part of the culture, and yet there's this strong current that runs through this that is the Eucharist. And I'd like to read, I've probably skipped part of this, but I think it's quite interesting. To probably appreciate this story of how this all evolved, we must know that among the Japanese, tea is practically a sacrament. They don't just drink it, they have an entire ritual and philosophy, chanyua, dedicated to the consumption and appreciation. The way, chanyua means the way of tea. Perhaps better than anyone, the Japanese understand its paradox. Unlike other drinks and meals they share, tea is humble, yet so extremely gratifying. One of the most beautiful descriptions of tea in the culture was produced in the Historia, written by a Jesuit priest and missionary, Rodriguez, who loved tea and wrote quite a bit about it. He and his Jesuit companions soon recognized that it was a deeply beautiful part of their culture that Japanese converts could wholeheartedly enjoy because it promoted rather than compromised their beliefs. Rodriguez waxed eloquent on the social, spiritual, and health benefits, noting that it improved digestion and opened up one's mind to higher things. What would that be? It encouraged quiet meditation, rustic simplicity, aesthetic judgment, appreciation of nature, and the significance of the present moment. It also necessitated courtesy, good breeding, moderation in action, and purity of spirit. The woman symbolically washes her hands in the basin. You could come upon a tea ceremony being offered in a simple tea house. You could see the events and the silhouettes through the rice paper walls. Because the actions were so similar, he was not able to distinguish it from the consecration of the Mass. During the Christian persecution of Japan that followed, Masses were secretly offered in tea houses, partly because of this. The Catholic faith in Japan survived underground for the next 200 years. In the quintessentially Japanese stone lanterns that are the focal point of many gardens, some of them have figures of the Virgin Mary and the Greek monogram IHS carved into the base part that is not visible because it is buried. Many of those are grave markers that are hidden Christian graves in Japan. To this day, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, tea preserves the sanity of beleaguered human beings all over the world who eagerly await quiet civility. But it is a far greater achievement was the preservation of Catholicism in Japan during the 200 years of persecution. So, if you love tea, raise your cup to honor St. Francis Xavier and his brave Jesuits who gave the Mass to Asia and the tea to the rest of the world. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Chicago again for research, for offering her tea ceremony. She just came back last night, very late, from school that she studied to be priest, and she not master. So she came back late, but then she had to wear, it took a long time to wear her kimono and wear her hair. And Nancy has spent a lot of time research, practice to present this. So I would like to thank all of you, especially our special guest, Estella, with beautiful kimono, and Father Munoz in his black kimono. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Now is the time to serve. lunch. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna pick a table, and then you all go in there so it make it easy. You don't have to wait. And my niece and her husband Long, where is she? She has, they raised, this is a plant from their garden.
What table did you pick to come first?
Okay,
Okay, come on in, and as she's explaining it,
Okay, please. The host have to take, if you miss this table, there's a flower to signal the food for the servant and the own time to be served. She picked up the flower, and now the food can be served.